Hello, and welcome to This is Route 66. Welcome to another episode of Motor Courts, Motels, and Hotels. Today we're featuring Motel Safari in Tucumcari, New Mexico. And joining us today is the owner, Larry Smith. Welcome to the channel, Larry.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for having me. I appreciate that.
You bet. My wife and I have been to Tucumcari and we stayed at Motel Safari and we just loved it. It's located right on Route 66 and walking distance to several restaurants.
Yes, that's a great thing. Safari is really on the heart of 66 here in Tucumcari. So we're right in the little stretch where you get the restaurants and um, everything's, a nice walk, especially after a long day in the car. A lot of folks opt to take a stroll down the Dells or kicks on 66, La Cita, Loretta's, any of our great restaurants.
Yep. We always make sure to eat breakfast at Kicks and dinner at Dell's. That's just something we always do when we go through.
Yes, common thing.
So, Larry, can you share some history about Motel Safari?
Sure. It was built in 1959 by a gentleman named Chester Dorr. Uh, he and his wife Mildred and their son Greg, um, built this and operated it for a few years there before they turned it over to other managers. He moved on down the road to build another motel. Before that, he had built one in Sullivan, Missouri, and two in Flagstaff. And so they were kind of up and down the road. They had family in Missouri, so Flagstaff ended up being a little further from home, I think, than they wanted. So they always stopped in Tucumcari while they were making these trips and decided they saw a vacant lot for sale and checked into it and they bought it and built a safari. So what he did, he borrowed some elements he had seen elsewhere and in regards to the design and the sign itself, especially. But he did some very interesting things, what's called Googie style or doo-wop style architecture. So a lot of the extended brickwork, the holes, these little what seem to be randomly cut holes in walls and things. Some of the breezeways were that influence. So it was a very mid-century modern design element that was used, and he really, his goal was to make the safari stand out from, at the time, tons of motels up and down this road, and you really had to do something to catch people's eye, and he did it with the architecture and then color palette, different than what we have now, but he went bold, which was a great thing.
Now, by any chance, do you have any idea where the name Motel Safari came from?
Not specifically. It was Safari was a more common motel name back in the 50s and 60s. So it was used more in the broader term of the word. We think of African safari with, lions and elephants and tigers. This was more safari as a journey, a trek, traveling. So there were a lot of safari motels, Safari Inn, still a few scattered around, but for the most part they're gone. But this is one that has obviously lasted. So he took that to be more of a journey. And
I see.
And then he used the camel on the sign. The story goes, whether the history is true, but I don't know whether it's why he chose the camel, but in dedication to the Camel Corps that was pre-Civil War, they brought camels over to help navigate the Southwest. They didn't require water, stops as much as horses would back in the day. So that was a big thing going on. Then Civil War interrupted the project. Jefferson Davis was part of the efforts in doing that, so he pulled into the war, and so camels were turned loose or sent back, and so that's why safari with a camel on top.
That's interesting. I never knew that part. So I assume over the years it's been remodeled. Do you have any information on that?
Yeah, it was kept in very good shape for many years. So the Doors owned it for about 10, maybe a little over 10 years, or about 10 years, and then they had hired managers to come in and take care of the property while they did other things like build the Aruba Motel down the road. And um, they sold it to the Frys, Ronald and Arlene Fry, and um, somewhere I got that year, but somewhere around 1970, I believe. And they owned it for quite a while. They raised 5 kids here running the motel. So you have an instant workforce. But great family. Arlene still lives here. One of her 5 kids. Ronald passed away a few years ago, but Arlene's still here. Very cool lady, very active in the community and stuff. And kids have all been here to visit, so they have lots of memories. So they owned it for into the 80s, and then at that point it went through a series of owners over the years, and kind of varying degrees of proper stewardship, I guess you could call it, and it did fall into disrepair like a lot of places do. And then Richard and Gail Talley, the owners before me, came in 2007. It was in pretty bad shape. It had been bought. I think the owner right before them had bought and tried to do a little cleanup, but her style was very different than what this motel deserved. And so the Tallies came in and did a pretty much complete overhaul, did a lot of cleanup, structural work, and really started to bring it back to life and get it back on the map and as a destination, as a or at least a stop it over for Route 66 travelers. And so they had it 10 years. I bought it from them in July 1st, 2017. And what I've done is come in, picked up where they left off, and my goal was really to give it more of push the mid-century modern element more, and which is what I love, and just the all the design touches that the Mister Door built into the structure, just amazing stuff. So we really tried to, I think, well, between the Tallies and what I've done, really trying to blend that mid-century modern feel, the design elements, incorporate the Route 66 part of it, but also bring it to up to date, give it the modern touches that you know everybody wants, because you have all the nostalgia in the world, but if you don't have comfortable beds, clean rooms, good water pressure, all the things that Wi-Fi, all the things that people are expecting and need now, it's all for nothing. So I think that's been the fun part for me, though, is really pushing that mid-century uh, element, and it's definitely worked, and I'm very happy with how it's turned out, and you know.
Before we continue, let's take a short break and play Beat the Buzzer.
Get ready. It's time to play Beat the Buzzer. Can you guess our jigsaw puzzle? To participate, click the subscribe button below. All right, it's time to play Beat the Buzzer.
Welcome back. Let's move on to our next topic. Can you describe to the viewers what your rooms would look like and how they may be different than the big chain type motels?
Yeah, I mean, it's still, it's still a motel built in 1959. There's no getting around that. Like, just completely, you overhaul it too much, it takes away its character, which is actually what's happened to one of Mr. Doerr's motels in Flagstaff was the Spur. It's now a Night's Inn, and haven't stopped because I don't. I think it would probably break my heart to see what they've done. But my understanding is they've taken, they've pretty much wiped all the cool factors out and made it a generic, mid-range chain hotel. So what we try to do here is to, my goal is to not go too kitschy, not to be too overly, over the top mid-century, because you can really take it too far and go. And some people want that, some people like it. To me, what I want this to be is tastefully retro. And you go into a room, it feels like a room might have felt in 1959, 60, 61, whatever. And it has that vibe, but it's still clean and fresh. There's no, there's no lingering smells or anything from that time. It's all clean and fresh, but it has that feel. So it has that vibe where you walk in. And we try to, the color palettes, it's subtle, but it's not just white walls and doctor's office art. It's it's Route 66. It's Tucumcari history in the room. It's some mid-century design pieces, but it's very, it's subtle and tasteful without just going nuts with it. And so what we're really known for is that comfortable beds, clean rooms. Everything works the way it should. So you've got the modern conveniences, but with yesterday's charm.
That's a good way to put it. That's just what I was thinking while you were describing. It's like a retro Americana room with conveniences of today that's nice and clean. So,
yeah, and that's the balance that we try to find. So if the guest walks in, if it's July, they're going to walk in. The air is on, lights are on, radio's playing. We have our own music channel that we play here, which is 50s, 60s classics. So nice. So you walk into the room, you just immediately, this is you're not at Best Western, you're not at Holiday Inn or Kentucky, whatever. Right. You're not, you're in and plus you're pulling up to your door, you're parked at your door. That caught on big time again during COVID, which is the only time I'll say that word. And but it was something that worked well for us. Just that helped us. I mean, I think it was a big factor in us getting through that as well as we did. Is that people re-embrace that idea of parking at your door and not dealing with hallways and elevators and so many common spaces. So it's something that people have started to re-embrace for sure. So that's the experience that you get. You have an actual room key, not a key card that may or may not work. You get the biggest trade-off for me is with these places, not just mine, but the motels that are up and down 66 and throughout the country, really, is that you get that, get the sense of community as well. You don't get that. Yeah, it's if you choose it. If you want to go in your room, watch TV, it's there. But if you want to get out of the room and sit out and sit out on the chairs in front of your room or go out to the patio, you can engage. You can be part of community, fellow travelers, talk to people, put the phone away and just actually have a face-to-face conversation with folks and get to know people. And that's that to me is a pretty good trade-off for, no continental breakfast, no fitness center, no pool anymore. We have a great patio with a fire pit and lots of air, lots of space for people to get together and just unwind after a long day on the road.
Yeah, I love the community part, and I've heard that so many times from travelers as well, traveling Route 66, that there's really no strangers on Route 66. There's just friends that you haven't met yet.
Exactly. And that's a great thing is people meet. One of the funniest, or not funniest, really, it was funny, but it was also very cool. And that I had one night, a couple from Germany and a couple from Tennessee, where I'm from, but like this tiny town, mountain town, what we would call the sticks, and they were sitting at a table together. You know, the Germans could speak English, you know, to a degree, and the Tennessee folks had their Tennessee accent very strong, and but they're out on, they're sitting on the patio all evening, talking. They're exchanging email or Facebook uh, uh, before they leave, and to me, that's you don't get that staying at a chain, and
Exactly.
those kinds of experiences are so much better than just going into your room and
Yeah. I've heard another term also. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And that's just what you're talking about right
yeah.
there. It's the journey traveling together.
And
So, listen, a lot of folks plan their road trips in off season. Is it a good idea to book a room in advance for Motel Safari?
um, it's good. I mean, we prefer people to book ahead. It helps us to plan and see who we have coming, and it helps us to place people in the right rooms, because there is strategy to where folks are placed. We, whether it's a family with small children or an older couple, we try to put people in the right places. Or if they're traveling with a trailer or something, it's always helpful to know. And here it's helpful. I mean, I think it's good to book ahead if you're pretty sure what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I don't like is people just, if they make their booking, it's a placeholder, because we do only have 14 rooms. We have 12 standard rooms, two king suites. I guess goes back to the question you were asking me earlier. I didn't really describe those, but we do have just the 14 rooms, and so 6 kings, 6 doubles, 2 beds each, and then the rockabilly suite, king suite, and the rawhide king suite, and those are themed, obviously Western themed and music themed, but very retro, very true vintage furniture, restored and functional, but
Great.
very retro. But those are, if you want something like that, it's definitely good to book ahead, and it's good to get it on the books and just know you got the room. And I mean, we as the motel's profile has raised over the years, it's we get those nights where we fill up, and people people that stayed here before, they call a few hours out hoping for a room, and we're full, and it's
Right.
hard to turn those folks away. So it's I think it's good all around to book ahead, but only if you're serious. You're really making you're
Okay.
really coming. Yeah.
So if they know their dates and they know they want to reserve a room, how can they do that? How can they contact you?
I greatly prefer our website. We do only direct bookings. I gave Expedia a shot for 3 years, and I absolutely hated them. It's one of the biggest rackets out there. It's I know I understand why people like it, the convenience of having all the properties in one place, but and it helped a lot of people find us. So good came out of it, but they're terrible to deal with for property owners, especially mom and pops like us. They take a big commission, which we can't absorb, so we add that on to the rate.
Mm.
So you're paying more for a room. If you, at least I think places like mine, you're paying more if you book that way. So we have our website, themotelsafari.com, and it's a professional property management system, booking engine, and safe, secure, and greatly prefer that to phone calls, because it's Murphy's Law here. The phone only rings at the worst times, and
Mm.
I can be sitting here perfectly still in front of the computer, it won't ring. If I go out to the far corner of the property to work on something, that's when the call comes. Or when we're open, it's when I'm having conversation with guests, or I'm helping them with something. That's when the phone rings. So it's probably one of, I think most motel owners would agree, the absolute worst thing is to try to decipher a call from the road in a moving
Mm.
car on speakerphone. It's just absolutely painful. And
Yeah.
the phone is probably the one thing I've gotten to where I just really dislike. And I greatly prefer, online booking. It's
Okay.
our phone message. I think I've taken it off for the moment. I may add it back, but we love nostalgia. But one thing we do embrace is online booking, and
Okay.
so it's just helpful to us. And that way, your information's there. You've entered it. It's hopefully correct. And then
Mhm.
we do ask people check the confirmation, make sure they've done what they've meant to do, and they got the dates right and all that. Because
Okay.
yeah, but
So I
technology.
saw, I saw, I saw on Facebook Motel Safaris for sale, and I was a little surprised to see that. But if
Yeah.
somebody is seriously interested in a venture like that, how can they get more information?
Well, I have a realtor. I've actually posted. I was holding off posting the link to the listing for a while
Hmm.
because when I first announced on my 6th anniversary, July 1st, that I was looking to sell, I got a lot of responses. So I was giving those people time to, have kind of first dibs to look through, to evaluate, and see if it was something they're truly serious about. So we
Hmm.
given them time. There's still some folks looking, some of those folks, but I went ahead and posted a couple, maybe I don't know, a couple weeks ago, just to get it out there to a wider audience. So I have my realtor is Sagebrush Realty out of Clovis, New Mexico, southeast of here. Kate Scroggins is the agent. She's great and would love to talk to you. She is. I've supplied her with tons of information, financials, and inventory. And I mean, the thing I want to try, I want to get across is that, I'm my goal is to find the right buyers because this is really a stewardship above all else. It's not about me; it's about the motel. It's about Route 66 keeping this going, and it's um, it's important that the right people continue to own this and run it, and to it survived against the odds, came back to life. Probably, I mean, it's doing better than it ever has, and um, it's just it's a special place. And I really want to make sure it's in the right hands. So um, the good thing is too is that right now this time of year we start slowing down a little bit. So at first I was saying just go straight to Kate. I mean, she does have all the information. She does have all that. So I still advise going to her first. But if I can answer questions or be of help, I'm more freed up than I usually I am through this pretty much spring to fall. And so this is a great time to to ask questions and explore the possibility if anyone's interested. Love to find somebody in the Route 66 community because it's one thing to drive and to post photos and to do this, to do all these different things. But we need people to own the businesses, and I mean, my biggest it's not a regret. I mean, I wish I could go longer, and I may still, still maybe a year or two before I find the right buyers. So I'm prepared for that. Kind of why I put it out there when I did, and um, but for me, it's been incredibly rewarding and it's been great. I love the motel, love the people part is just more than I could have ever hoped. Um, I'm just, it's worn me down a little faster than I expected.
I see.
The pandemic, I will not name again, it was part of that, and it was that was challenging in lots of ways, not just the business itself, but just dealing with the state's restrictions and trying to decipher what we could do, what we couldn't do, the staffing. And I do this solo. It's just me, and I've never hired anyone else to run the desk. I'm the face at the desk. Me and Sam, my beautiful boxer. Um, we do this day in day out, and it's mostly 7 days a week, close to 24/7. And
Hmm.
yeah, it's just I just kind of made a decision earlier this year that it was time. I could feel it was
Okay.
time, but I didn't want to wait till I was just completely burnt out. And
All right.
I don't want to be the old grumpy guy behind the desk. I'm trying to avoid that. And
Yeah.
But yeah, I wish I could go longer. I mean, I wish some of the circumstances were different, and I would love to just, I mean, own this for 10, 15 years. I mean, because the aspects of it I really enjoy, and I'm going to miss it a lot.
Right.
I'd
Okay.
love to see a couple or partners, or it needs more than one person. Really, it's grown into, we've kind of, I won't say a victim of our own success, but it's not really, it's definitely not a victim. It's just a result of all the efforts that we've put into this between me and the tallies, all the work, hard work, and the marketing, the advertising, word of mouth, reviews online, all that has been so strong, and I'm blessed for sure, and I'm grateful for how it's all went, but at the same time, it's burned me out faster. So I'm ready to do something else and head back
Mm-hmm.
home to East Tennessee. And I miss friends and family too. I mean, that's
Sure.
just
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds great. And I guess at this point, that's all we have today for this episode of Motor Courts, Motels, and Hotels. Thank you for joining us today, Larry.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate you reaching out, and
You bet.
happy to do this. And thanks
All
for
right.
doing this on a larger scale. The more the better. It gets the word out,
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
let
Okay.
hopefully inspires people to travel the Mother Road.
I'd like to say thank you to our guest today, and also I want to say thank you for watching my videos. Producing these videos is just my way of giving back to Route 66 and preserving this piece of Americana for the next generation. Now you can let me know that you appreciate these videos by just simply clicking onto this logo to subscribe to my channel, and of course feel free to share these videos to your social media pages.